Well, Marty, Jeffrey, what a joy to be reconnected with you. I remember you and I had just a little interview some years ago, and it was just so much fun. I just really enjoy talking to you and appreciate your friendship. So much of life is just really that relationships, who we love and who loves us, and the difference we can make. And if you can have a job that actually amplifies that, that's the way to live. Just so excited about that, and I'm really glad that you're taking your impressive and substantial skills to us and to share to make us better, because that's so much of what it is find something that you can truly be passionate about, and then study under good people, and just decide that you're going to be really good in something that you're in love with, and then just go out and do it. And so, wow.
And David, the interesting thing is, as you know, I mean, my background is publishing and broadcasting, and I built a franchise business, cartoons, all sorts of different strategies. But the only thing I ever found, and again, I have been brought in as a consultant with other companies. The only one I ever found that was completely and totally unique in its approach was cant. I mean, other companies sometimes will try and look like they've got a product, or they will try and appear like that they care, but they don't have the 5 pillars foundation under them. They don't attract the kinds of people that come to this opportunity are very specific. And a lot of what we're doing is we're not trying to reinvent people. We're trying to find like-minded people that have been looking for an outlook and a way to do this forever. So you, Dave Johnson, for example, you hit the mother lode when you found it, because it's just right in your wheelhouse. It's everything you love. It's communication, it's relationship, it's health. It's got a spiritual component to it that you can serve and you can help your fellow man. And you love all that stuff. So of course you've done well at it, and that's who we're looking for. So that's the work I've been doing, is trying to get people to in 40 or so seconds to articulate why they got involved.
Oh, so true. I think about all of the experiences I've had, and my personal record is 5 W-2 forms in 1 year. And a lot of us have gone out and done different things, and as your work experience increases, you quickly realize that not all jobs or all work is created equal. Some work inherently has more value to the world. I think that's where we search more and more as we get older, is just our desire to do something that's significant, to make a difference, but also just day to day, waking up in the morning and being excited about going to work rather than dreading that moment, to live your life in just thinking frustration and, I can't wait till the weekend, wishing your life away. Of course, when you think about work and business, one of the reasons is to make money. Some things just naturally have more potential as far as earning, but also when you look at business, business is to make a profit, but ideally business is to make a profit by doing good. And I just think of all of the things when you look at business. You have to have some type of product or service to even justify being in business. And I look at the relevance of the cant products versus anything else out there, and we just have more power to do good. I think so many companies, what if everyone were using that product? Many years ago, there was a commercial for Dial soap, and it said, "Don't you wish everyone used Dial? Aren't you glad you used Dial? Don't you wish everyone did?" And really, it didn't really matter that much. But aren't you glad you use cant? And if we had everyone using cant, it would transform this world. And so here's something that you really can get passionate about, and just excited this moment because you're a guy. you've got a lot of heart. You're a sharp guy. You could do pretty much anything that you wanted to, but you're using these talents and helping us, and so.
Do you know what, David?
Better.
I can't do anything I want. It's very interesting that when you get a certain worldview, and you expand that word profit, and you really believe in your very soul the things that you're talking about, you can't go out and do those things. I can't repeat my former business successes because they were exploitive. You've got to just go in there, and at the end of the day, you walk away with a great big check, and everybody else gets up in the morning and goes back to work. And if you know that, David, it was one thing doing it when I was young and ambitious and stupid, but now that I know the truth, I can't just go out and do anything. And so when you guys called from NECAN, I have a mentor in my life, and I said, I got a call from the people at NECAN, and they're talking about would I come back and do some structural stuff and help get people back on mission. And he said, that thing, you're never going to let go of that thing. Like, you talk about that thing all the time. Why don't you go and do what you're supposed to be doing? And the other day I was on the phone with him, and he said, Marty, remarkable change in 4 weeks. Like, you're who you are again. And he said, you've been like a lost puppy. So it is wrong to think that there aren't hundreds and millions, hundreds of thousands and millions of people that have got the same problem. I can do anything, but I don't want to. I'm looking for like-minded people who want to turn this whole notion around. I think the term self-care or wellness, or this whole idea that we somehow become almost like in a hypnotic trance around pharmaceuticals and around the allopathic medicine, and we just go to the doctor and we'll manage your chronic pain. Well, nice message, but why do I have to have all this chronic pain again? Well, Marty, that would be because you're an idiot and you won't take care of yourself. That's what they should say to you. What they say is, take 2 of these, 4 of those, and they're giving you the pills for them so you don't come back. It's not for you. They're sick of hearing you whine about your arm that's aching and the fact you can't lose weight. And we get into groups in NECAN, group, GROUP, grow up. That's what it's really. That's the fight. I'm 64 years old, and I think I'm now mentally ready to be about 30. I want to do the right thing habitually, David. And this NECAN concept gives you a pathway to habitually do the right things. And lo and behold, your health will improve. Lo and behold, your economic situation will improve. And lo and behold, you will fit into that societal thing that you've been wanting to do. People talk endlessly about what's wrong in the country and, we're going down the tubes. Well, you know what? We are the country. We are the country. If we want to do good, then I would suggest, here's a novel thought, let's do good instead of talking about it. So you're right. Skill-wise, God blessed many of us to do many wonderful things, but the problem is when your heart is in something, it's not so easy. So don't get fired, David. You're going to have a hard time replacing that wonderful job.
Oh, yeah, I agree. I am ruined for anything else. I've in my mind just imagining doing something else. I just get a stupor of thought. I just think I don't want to do anything else. And it is so fun to have something that stirs the soul and just puts fire in the belly and makes you want to get up. I think some of the best medicine that you can take that's anti-aging, good for mind and body and spirit is just waking up with something to do, work that's meaningful, that matters. And I think that's one of our best products is just the day-to-day career of going and sharing and giving value. In fact, Dennis Williams says something that I think should help us all when we go out and talk to people. That he says we're not begging for a favor, we're offering a gift. And I think one of the big things, since we're going to be talking about just the mechanics of how to be successful in this business, most of it really is inside your own heart and in your head that you really want to be offering a gift and really care about other people. If you join Nikian as just a business to make money and you try to exploit or talk to people, and if you have that attitude, I need to make some money, let alone I'm desperate and boy, my car payment's coming up and I need to sell something, people will feel that really fast. And so if it's just money alone, you probably won't make any money in this. If you come from the standpoint of service, it just changes everything. It's paradoxical in a way that not thinking about it and being focused on that, but just loving people and caring about them, that is the greatest step to success. And so Zig Ziglar said it well, help enough other people get what they want, and you'll automatically get everything that you want. And so
I got Zig Ziglar so mad at me one time. I was behind him on a ticket somewhere, and when I went on stage, I said I was his son. He didn't think that was funny. But anyway, you're either moving toward what you want, and that's love, or you're running away from something you don't want, and that's fear. So if you go into a sales call fearful, and the other person immediately knows that you're in full flight, you're in fear. They pick that up. It's right in the amygdala. It's right in the lizard brain. And I like to go out of this business sometimes because the examples are simpler. But in the newspaper business, I used to tell my people, when you go on the street, if you need to sell an ad, desperately need to sell an ad, go home. Because you will ruin your relationship with that customer. You need to go in there with the idea that they need you, that what you have is worthy. And see, when I listen to Dennis Williams, Ruth Williams, David Johnson, Michael DiMuccio, William Todd, what I hear is high belief in product. You guys just absolutely 100% know that if they will do what the thing is asking them to do, they will get a result. That's a million miles away from, how about this? You buy this. I don't know if it'll work. And if it doesn't, I won't give you your money back because I'm going to disappear. As a customer, do I want that? No. I want you to know that I'm going to be okay. I want you to know that this is a solution for me. And I want you to clearly understand that, I don't want to be a drampire anymore. All the drama and everything people talk about and they're sick all the time. It's who you become. So when we walk into that and what we're espousing in the I Can training right now is this whole notion around having a 40-second pitch that we call the elevator talk. You should be able to deliver it in the time it takes to go from 3 or 4 floors in an elevator. And the idea is that in that 30 or 40 seconds, you open that channel of love to the person and you let them see inside of who you are. So, my pitch was very sincere because it was around Shirley. My wife had kidneys that never fully developed. And so when people would say to me, well, what do you do on an airplane or whatever? I'd say, well, 20 or so years ago, my wife, who had these kidneys that were actually only big enough to work for a little girl, was waking up 3 to 5 mornings a week, vomiting, sick, just terrible sick, couldn't eat properly. And basically medicine told us, live with it. She's going to have that the rest of her life. And then a guy introduced me to a Japanese technology, which we put under her. And oh my goodness, here it is 2 decades later. She's not sick anymore in the mornings. Did it grow her new kidneys? Of course not. That would cost $100 million. This thing was like in the hundreds of dollars. but it gives her enough energy during the night that her body actually deals with the toxins. And so we got so passionate about the fact that we found something. That's what we do now. We tell people about that, and we've helped thousands of people in 20 countries. It's amazing. It's amazing that we believe that it's normal to be sick all the time. It's not. You don't have to feel like that.
Well, let's kind of kick this off a little bit, because I think, okay, all of us, to really be alive, we want to have a dream. We want to have a goal to work towards. And then also we want to be in reality. And is the expectations of this dream worthy? And does it really match what my inner self is and what I want to do with my life and give everything? And if you get all that resolved, and then also you got to be thinking, okay, is it realistic? Like if you look at the Nikan business, do these products actually work or not? Is there a market for them? Which way is the economy headed to support what this is doing? Is this the trend that has a long-term destiny for me? When you look at all of the factors along for, you could call the equation of success, I really believe the only unknown factor is you. And everything else, the timing's right, market and measurable products are unsurpassed, everything's there. And so if you're the only unknown equation, and if you optimize you, and do all the things necessary, then it ought to work. And it reminds me of a fun story I heard many years ago. This is back in the 70s when I was in Amway. And one of the leaders, Jerry Meadows, was doing a meeting. And the mechanics is the same as what we do today. It's talking to people. And he was talking about this fundamental seminar that I guess we are going to be focusing on today, how to talk to people. And that's what it's all about, building the team. And after that, a guy came up to him and he said, Jerry, I just can't seem to sponsor anybody. It's just not happening for me. Could I have a few moments of your time? And so they sat down and Jerry said, well, okay, first off, how many people are you talking to? And the man said, well, actually, this last week, there was a lot of things going on, and I wasn't able to really talk to anybody. And Jerry was friendly about that and just said, well, we all have weeks like that. That's fine. But tell me, the week before, how many people did you talk to? And the man thought a moment. And he says, well, actually, no one. And Jerry stood up and he says, this is fantastic. Do you realize that you're sponsoring 100% of the people that you're talking to? And I'll never forget that. And I really think most people fail because they're just not working. And so one of the big keys is you got to give yourself the opportunity to succeed by just doing it enough. People that succeed are people that work. And so that's the big thing. And so if I meet most people that aren't making it, it's just because they're not working. But if I meet somebody and they've talked to quite a few people and it's not happening, I get a little nervous because I think, what are they doing wrong? And invariably, what I love doing is asking them to talk to me. I say, okay, I'm a good prospect. Let's just do a little bit of role play. Talk to me about Nikan. And what happens is they say the darndest things. And I just ask myself, could anybody be involved after hearing that? Some people talk too much. Whatever it is, it just isn't the right thing. And I've heard, actually, even from the stage, people say, oh, you can't say the wrong thing to the right person, and you can't say the right thing to the wrong person. And, if you just kind of look at that real shallow and it sounds kind of cute, that little couplet, but boy, you really can. And I've heard it many times. You can blow good people right out of the water. And so my thought is I feel a moral obligation to share this with people, and what they do with it, it's up to them. And so my feeling is if there's a person and they would get in if somebody was competent and they joined. But if I came along and just whatever fell out of my mouth and I was clumsy in my words and they didn't get in, but they would have with somebody else, then it's my fault. And so I feel that if we're going to do this, we need to be good enough so that we can snag those people. And Orson Welles, he is pretty good with talking, and he made this comment. He says, "Pretty little speeches change the world," and I'll tell you, you can change the world with Nikan. I've always loved the statement that even a simple hello leads to a million possibilities, and it's fun to be involved in something where we have something to share. Inside of us, we have a gift that anybody we meet, we can engage them and change their whole life. It's just fun to offer that to people.
But David, you said something that again, it's something that's tripped over all the time, seldom understood, and that's when you said you have a moral obligation. Well, what I was to learn that is a moral is an inner truth. It's something that you deeply believe inside of yourself. It's immanent. It's not just something you're doing to follow a plan or to show off or to be somebody. It's not a personality trait. It's a character trait. And so if that is, and think about take a Ruth Williams and understand that need inside of her, the imminent need to care and share, and then explain to me why she would be afraid to approach anybody, because you won't be able to. She feels obligated to share it. Now, if I'm in it for the wrong reasons, somebody's convinced me that I'm going to get rich in 15 minutes, and I don't know anything about the technology, I don't know anything about myself, and I say to you, would you like to try this? And you, quotation marks, reject me. I do that a few times, and pretty soon I don't want to talk to anybody anymore because I'm out there for the wrong reason. If you don't honestly believe inside yourself that what we're doing is right, then you and I need to have a talk, or you got to talk with a mentor or your sponsor, and you got to get down to the issues you're having with the entire thing. And again, clearly, no company is perfect. No product is perfect. We're not selling $6,500, $100,000 MRI machines. Don't tell people that it's going to cure them and everybody in Bogota at the same time. It is a very, very cost-effective solution to a lot of chronic stuff that doesn't need to be taking place. But it's discipline. You have to use the products. And, I think that, we've been programmed very carefully over a period of time to do two things: hand our whole lives over to doctors, and we watch on television, and they have these incredible drugs, which may cause your nose to fall off, your leg to swell, your fingernails to come out, and in extreme cases, death. But why don't you get some of this, because it'll solve everything 30 seconds. That's the problem. That, David, is the problem. People want the sale in 30 seconds, and they want the customer to decide in 30 seconds, and the customer wants a cure in 30 seconds, and very rarely does any of that work like that. You guys coined the phrase, they don't care what you know until they know you care. That is the essence of it. And so why did that guy avoid doing the business? And the answer is, he's afraid to do the business because he doesn't want to fail. How do you learn anything if you don't fail? Our society is so crazy. They say, go out there and be a success, but don't fail. Well, Steve Jobs, Bill Gates and the gang just shut down their telephone company for $7.9 billion loss. Nobody gets it right all the time. But the lesson we learn again from Ruth and Dennis is the people that approached them didn't stop. They kept coming back every once in a while because people's life situations change, because you change, because your truth increases, because you become a better presenter, because you have a new product, whatever. You asked me to share some of these emails. Here's one. We're talking about elevator speech, and here's one that says, "Hey Marty, After the call last night, I went to my customer list top 5. Seeing my list reminded me that I hadn't heard back from a customer who was trying some supplements, so I reached out to her again. She decided to go on auto ship with 3 nutritional products. I had to chuckle. So as of today, I'm over my needed 500 ppv, which is awesome. I'm striving for one of the top 10 spots this month and next month and the month after that. My ICANN goal is to sit at a dinner table with Kurt Foley in San Antonio, a huge goal, but I can do it. And I don't take that last statement lightly. I'm going to work hard. And then here it is. I am going to have fun doing it. Thank you for the lessons. I love them. So there's only 2 emotions. There's love and there's hate. That's all there is. Everything else is like an allotrop of it. It's just the same makeup. You know, you say you're fearful, you're jealous, you're envious, you're suspicious, you're angry. Those are all the children of fear. You say that you're caring and you're loving and you're appreciative and grateful. Those are all children of love. So when you look at how you're behaving out there in the field, it's like, where are you coming from inside? And when you tell somebody in that opening volley about what it is that you're doing, tell them why, because the why will really matter. You can cut through years of bad programming by just really being sincere. I remember when I met you, David, and I was, steeped. I was, business from head to foot, and one of the unhappiest rich people I'd ever met. And we were on the phone one day, and I was going on about some shipping issue or some other thing that I detected that wasn't perfect. And you said, "Hey, listen to this." And it was a little digger truck. And you'd push it, and it kept saying, "Get to work, get to work." And somebody would say, "Oh, that Johnson, why does he always do that?" I said, "I'll tell you why, because he's dead on the money. All of this other stuff is just distraction. I am not sharing this and caring about anybody when I'm all wrapped up in the minutia details. We know that there's problems. I don't care what company you go to, there's problems. But the real problem, me. I am, when you're out there in front of a customer, you are the company. You are they're the only Nikan, that you're all they see. So if you are not coming from that place of caring and love and really believing in what you're doing, they're not getting a very good picture. And to throw us in with all of that melee of people that are selling potions and lotions and stealing people from one organization and then moving them to another organization, that in itself is a business, folks. I mean, that's what some people do. They get in, they create these herds, and then they herd them from one company to the other, and they pillage and they do everything. And as soon as the company starts to fail, they rip all their people up and they move to the next one. I could do that. I wouldn't do that at gunpoint, but I could do that. I know how. And I think anybody that does that is just like from the dark side. We're in a real hybrid business in this business. We are really in a traditional retail business where it's caring for customers. And the more you care, the more that those customers will recommend you to friends and family. The more those customers will continue to support you. And if you can get about 5 auto ship customers around you in that support role, they will pay what we traditionally call in the retail business light, heat, water, and power, your operating expenses. You get those things taken care of. You get your qualifying taken care of. All those worries are gone. Now go out and start just loving people and taking them that whole notion around, you can start to take care of yourself. I will help you. We've got products, and together we can do a lot of good. You start with that, and you watch the people's eyes light up. They're looking for it. Truthfully, they're looking for it.
Oh, that you got me excited. I'm just kind of thinking inside my head, what is the difference between people that make it and people that don't? And the obvious is kind of the Jerry Meadows story I shared with you. That most people they just don't say anything by default. They just don't talk to anybody. But I think some of that is fear. Also, as part of that fear is they don't know what to say.
Yep.
And then also saying the wrong things. And I look at people that are really successful. There's something magic, mojo, whatever you want to call it. But they got the magic. And one of the things I would suggest is if you don't believe in yourself and you don't maybe have that magic at the moment, get plugged in with somebody that does, and just get really good at inviting people and put it all on someone else, doing 3-ways and getting them in front of people. And I just last week, I had an event with several people. A lot of new folks came, and one of my favorite things happened. A lady that, to use the medical term, AMU, all messed up. Oh, you could tell she was just hurting all over from that. And typically, and I think one of the huge competitive edges we have over any other product is not just the profound effect that can happen with people, but almost instantaneous results consistently. And so here's something where you can touch people emotionally by actually helping them feel better. If somebody's in pain and all of a sudden they're not, and often that's right before your eyes during the meeting. Some of the best meetings are just turning that over to the person that was affected, and hearing that, and everybody else looking at that. They saw her come in hurting, and everything changed. Her whole state, and think, I could sell this. She's got the passion. If we could replicate that again and again, and of course we can if we just go open our mouths and talk to people. But let's talk a little bit about that magic. How do you develop that? How do you how do you learn those words? How do you learn the magic? Could that happen to you?
Yeah, sure it can. And here's another letter. This is these are people that are taking the I Can mentoring course that I'm mentoring. William Todd facilitated it, and I want to be very clear that William Todd makes absolutely no money out of that course. He brought me in and has paid me to do that course. But these letters are coming in, and I get sometimes my phone sounds like the New York Stock Exchange, ding, 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 ding. Here's one. It says, "Hi, I just realized that the affirmation means changing." Here's your question, David. So he says, "I hadn't connected respond in kind with payment as to actually ask for a payment of the retail price. So he says, I listened to your recordings in the car. Not so easy to take notes. Thank you for telling us that. However, this morning, I was told by that my 40-second elevator pitch was succinct and connecting with people's emotions. And I was told that by a sales training consultant. I must have done some good work on it. He said it was the best, and he had heard me over 8 months trying to accomplish this." So also in a meeting later, I wasn't scared to name a price because I showed perceived monetary value and benefit in the outcome for the client. He got it. It wasn't about him. He wasn't defending me, Ken. He was saying, do you want this? If this would do that. He was really understanding that he had something that could help them. Says the sentence that jumped out at me most was, "The fear of sharing or talking about the business is easily overcome by the repetition that changes our beliefs." And I had lost that thread in the past by not continuing repetition until it becomes so natural that I have fun playing with it, as Ruth Williams does. Thank you all. I'm really beginning to realize how much this program has changed for me. Here's one you like, Dave. This morning I was driving to the airport listening to a CD Dave Johnson gave me. And he gave it to me in Orlando, "The Power of Affirmations," on which he reminds us about the power of repetition. Good stuff from another great mind. Repetition is the mother of all learning. I'll tell you how I have this picture, David, and the psychologists and the eggheads on the call will be pulling their considered hair out. But to me, I'm like a triangle in my mind, and right at the top of it is my conscious mind, and that little guy's like a captain on a ship. He thinks he's going to go this way and that way, and I head for 7-Eleven, and the next thing I know, I'm washing the car because I got distracted, and I wonder how did that happen. So on the second floor is like the government's executive branch. There's a bunch of like consultants down there. A friend of mine says it's like everybody on a bus that wants to drive and nobody wants to take responsibility. That's the idiots on the second floor. And then most interesting of all, David, where repetition really impacts us is down on the third level, on the unconscious mind. This is the thing that has all the formulas for healing our wounds and making our heart keep beating. It's brilliant. But down there are also boxes and boxes and boxes of stupidity, misperceptions, ideas that we gained as children. And the committee on the second floor says, Captain wants us to go and talk to that person about their health. Well, let's go find out what we know about that. And it goes down, and the idiot librarian on the third floor goes to a box marked incompetent and shows you a movie of when you were in grade 5 and you dropped the cake at your own birthday party. You go, oh, can possibly. So a lot of what we do, there was a great teacher of mine, a guy named Chuck Chamberlain. He was Richard Chamberlain's father, the actor. His name was Chuck. And Chuck used to say, life is about uncovering, discovering, and discarding. So much of this thing that you're talking about, uncovering again and allowing that moral obligation, that truth inside yourself is that you do want to help, that you do want to make a difference. You absolutely deserve to have everything that life has to offer. That's why you were created. There's no dirty word in profit. That's nonsense. The problem in our society is we only think of profit as money. That's nonsense. Look at all the friends you have, David, all the people that you love and all the people that love you. And I'm not just talking about your immediate family, because that's myriad as well as there's a bunch of you guys, but I'm talking about all of the people that love you. That's profit. That is a big gain you made. Now, if you would have allowed the David that's on the steering the ship, David, to allow the guys that are on the second floor, that subconscious mind, to influence you on where you came from, what you were capable of, or whatever, you would not be a concert pianist. You would not be at the top of this field. You would be all wrapped up in self, fearful and afraid. And that's the thing we've got to knock out. So how do we do that? Repetition. We get good ideas and we just keep repeating it until those boxes on that third floor start to get taped over and thrown out. And so when the committee goes down looking for information, they open a box and it says, yeah, you could do that. Look at this. Here's a movie of you doing this. And here's one of, and all of a sudden your life becomes motivated and forward moving. And the thing I've learned in the last 15 years is not only is that important, but you've also got to be motivated and moving to something that's worthy of you. You can't take all this wonderful stuff and apply it mishmash to other things. They don't have the heart condition. I would say to people, and I was dealing with some companies that were doing $50 and $60 million a month as a consultant. And I'd go in and I'd open my little kit and it would be kind of based in the 5 pillars and like that. And they go, oh, that's really wonderful. No, I'm not going to do that. That would mean that our executive salary would get horizontalized. It would flatten this in that. Oh, no, we wouldn't want to do that. But you told me you wanted to make a difference in the world. Yeah, but not like that. We don't want fairness. that would affect our profit. No. So very unique situation we're in here. You can talk this stuff, you can believe this stuff, and you can do it. But it begins, again, like you said earlier, it begins right here with me. I have to do it.
I love this business because in order to succeed in it, you become the kind of person that you ought to be anyway. And living your life and treating people the way you ought to. I just get pumped about this.
People think that you're just like that. But you've learned that, haven't you? I mean, these are things that you've learned, David, and you just keep applying.
Well, one of the things I think is really interesting is inherently, I'm naturally very shy. High school is an example. I would just hide. Never went to an assembly. I would just go to the next class and sit there with my book and read. Never even went to lunch. I just go to a library and read. Very quiet. Nobody knew me. If somebody did, and they knew that I'm basically getting paid to talk. People before wouldn't believe who I am now, and people that know me now can't believe who I was before. And it was basically, you really can change. And as Jim Rohn talks about, that when you change, everything will change for you. And I just got so excited about this that I just kind of forced myself, and it's really neat. The whole thought that you're kind of talking about, Marty, is just this idea that how would you like to create your own life? And of course, it begins with the question, how would you like to create your own mind? But isn't that what we do? One thought at a time. And I love this term that William is really emphasizing, is this repetitive reading, repetitive learning, because every time you think about a thought, it changes you. And if you think about that same thought over and over and over again, it becomes deeper and more permanent into you, and it actually becomes you. And you can borrow someone else's ideas and make them your own, and maybe even benefit more than that person that had those. And then with Nikan, we can take those ideas and loan them to other people and share that. It's powerful stuff. And it all begins with just talking to other people, sharing these ideas. And so much of it is in the form of stories that are interesting, that move people, that stories that build rapport, and getting to become friends, which you can't have too many friends. I agree with you, Marty. That's the real wealth, is just the width and depth of your relationships, and going out and looking for somebody and being interested in them and talking to them, building the rapport, and then the approach is also a rapport builder. One of my favorite things, if somebody says, well, after I talk to them and what do you do and all that, and most of the time they'll say, well, what do you do? And I love to begin, would you like to hear my story? Just to kind of prepare, because that was the fun part in school, was when the teacher was reading time and they read a story, or if you're young, sitting on your mom's lap and she's got the book and she's reading a story. Stories go into your brain very easy. It's almost irresistible. We can't help ourselves. Stories just, our brain takes those. And so if you can use the approach as just a short story that emotionally engages people and makes them want to know more, and with the advantage of these products that, everybody ought to be interested in this kind of stuff. So you already got an edge going for you. All you got to do is just become competent by repetitive studying and practicing and having somebody guide you, so your story is right on. Mm-hmm. So it relates to most of the people most of the time. And then I think, going to school, if you're like me, not a model student, I remember getting a D in accounting, and I was, I just, debits were bad, credits were good. That was in my mind, but it actually is different in accounting. There's just a lot of stuff that just, and plus I just didn't want to know about it. And I think the teacher says, well, hey, I'll give you a D so you won't be back again. But then I think, in terms of school, if you get a 59, you get an F. Now if you got let's say a 25% on a test, that's a super F. But I think in Nikan, if you got 25%, like if you only got 1 out of 4, you could become a quadrillionaire in Nikan. It's a whole different game. This is a better.
Pretty forgiving. But and again, it's ancient. It's nothing that any of us have come up with. But the way that the Creator created us is thought, word, action, habit, character, destiny. So I think, maybe you're at home watching this and thinking, well, I could do all that. Now watch what comes out of your mouth. Because if what's coming out of your mouth is negative, you're going to shut yourself down before you start. So we don't do negative. We're done with negative. People want to talk about other people. I tell them later, I have no time to say anything bad about anyone. I don't want to hear it. Now, actions I will take 2 kinds of actions, action to get from A to B. And then there are habitual actions that I repeatedly do. Make sure that those are good. And how do you know that? You go to your mentor, you go to your sponsor. Make sure that those are good actions you're taking. It does not matter, David, how many times you put the wrong key in a lock. It will not open the lock. And there are people that are so fixed in their business, they keep putting the same key. They're still trying to do the traditional network marketing pitch. It's not going to work, folks. We have got to come along with the times. 21st century people are completely, they're open. They're open to what you've got. You just need to get a habit that goes right straight to the heart of it. So thought, word, action, habit, and now what you're talking about, character. So the character of Dave Johnson hiding at the back of the assembly or settling for second best or just kind of like sliding through life like a phantom, that's not a great character. The character you have now is very strong. You developed it. You didn't inherit it. You didn't get it from your church. Nobody gave it to you. You developed that character. And if I had a message on this call today is quit being victim of the idea that your dad was a liar, so you're a liar. No. You're a liar if you think that. Your dad's stuff has nothing at all to do with how you habitually tell the truth. Just habitually tell the truth. And people will say eventually, no, there's a guy with a good character, always tells the truth. You see what I'm saying? We build that, and then that character creates your destiny. Here's one final letter here. This is on repetition, and this is from lesson 4, Principled Sales. It says, Principled Sales is designed to help you understand why you are afraid to ask a customer for the retail price of an item when you know they need it. That's ironic, isn't it? Here's something really great for you. You know what? Take it. Anyway, so remember that once you find a person who wants what you need and what you have, a chance to use these unique and proven energy products, make that customer a personal concern of yours. I mean, that's it. My I can attitude allows me to teach clients something which will add value to their experience with me. And I encourage them to do the same, respond in kind. So we're out there, and it's like this conversation, David. Both you and I are big talkers, but both you and I can listen. Most people, they can talk, but they don't listen. And listening is the big piece. If I really hear what you're saying to me, which is, I want to trust you. I want this stuff to work. I mean, are you going to be with me in this? Do you support me? Will you help me? Will you remind me to take? Because the big thing I found with the people when I was selling product is your mattress is not going to help you under your bed. You've got to put it on top of the bed. The quick story, personal story, and again, they're the best stories. We had a product called Liver, and I had, as a child, 23-year-old, I had stopped it, but I was alcoholic, drinking. I really hurt my liver. It was swollen a third bigger than it was supposed to be, called a fatty liver. And frequently in this kind of a disorder, that is something you live with. And so 20 years after I had stopped drinking, I was at the doctor, and he says to me, what are you doing about your liver? And I thought, oh man, I'm drinking Coca-Cola, I'm up all night, I'm drinking coffee, I'm at weekend meetings, I'm on planes. So I thought he was going to give me a lecture. And I said, well, I can try hard. He said, no, your liver's completely normal. What did you do? And I suddenly realized that I was taking 3 times the dose of the liver. I'd been doing that for about 1.5 years. I had no anticipation of any result like that. So when he said, what do you do? I started telling him about the product, and he said, no, whoa, I don't need to know all that. That's good. Just keep doing what you're doing. And he walked out of the room. Didn't fit into his paradigm that you could take something like that and that it would change a human being's liver. My liver was able to heal itself. The product didn't heal me. It put my liver in a position to heal itself. Amazing technology, right? And, I look at this stuff, and the greatest problem we have with the products is our own lack of faith in applying them. I mean, faith just means do it anyway. Faith doesn't mean you're not afraid or you're not doubtful. It just means do it anyway. Mm-hmm. So if you have got a closet full of product at home, and you're going out and you're telling your sad little story to everybody, and you're not using the products, come on, why should they use the products? and here's the other thing, and it's so sad, and especially in Nikan, we probably had 40 million people go through here that used products and had phenomenal results. Where are they all? They have some issue with somebody in the company, they walk away. We have got to form a relationship with our customers that they know that product is what's important here. Don't get mad at me and lose your connection with something that's good. Let's make sure we're really creating a container where they get superb service, where they get looked after, where we care and support them. And yes, nudge them. Phone a customer and say, are you taking that stuff? They won't be mad at you. They'll know you care. And I don't know about David Johnson or anybody else, but I know about Marty Jeffery. As soon as something starts working, I stop using it. What is that about? And when somebody says,
if you feel good, you just forget about it so quick. And a lot of times you might even loan product to somebody for a week, and they'll forget. They just think, or they might be thinking, well, maybe I would have just got better anyway. And it's the funniest thing. So much of it really is building the relationship, following up, and caring. And I think people don't really join NECAN, they join you, and people don't really leave NECAN, they leave you. And so it really is about just building that relationship. And when you meet people and you're really interested in them and they feel that, I believe that whenever you meet somebody, I like to kind of think of myself as having an interview with them, but it's a relaxed interview. I'm building a relationship, but I'm also in my mind thinking, but I like to have them as a friend. What do we have in common? I'm in my mind thinking, is there anything I have that I could help them? Could I make their life better because of what I have? And of course, NECAN offers a lot of tools to do that. But also, I know, especially when we get into the aspect of a NECAN presentation, they're interviewing me. And they're not saying it, but I'm certain that some of the questions that they're asking quietly as they're looking at me is, does this guy really believe in what he's saying? Can I trust you?
Yeah.
Do you have my best interests at heart? All of these questions that I think are vital, they're asking, and you want in your mind to really be thinking that it isn't about you. It's about them really being interested. One of my very favorite thoughts is the book How to Win Friends and Influence People, and there's a lot of good stuff in that book. But one of the things that just is singular to me is Dale Carnegie, who hit a point of fame, and he had these Dale Carnegie courses going on throughout the country, and a pretty famous guy. And at a social gathering, a lady didn't know who he was, and part of that, he was just spent several minutes with her, talking to her, but he didn't really say anything at all. He was just very interested in her, asking her questions, and it actually got out through several people that she had spoke to, that Dale Carnegie was the most brilliant conversationalist she ever met. And we can learn the same thing as most in our approach. It could be 10 minutes, but it should be maybe 9 of those minutes listening to them and caring about them. And then the remaining 1 minute should be that little elevator thing. And it should be in the form of a story. And I believe it should be a story that is customized to what their needs and wants are, that probably you heard in their conversation. And what you want to have is it all rehearsed. And so you've got pieces of things that are memorized, that are scripted in your head, that you can just kind of patch together and make a custom approach to them that would fit right into basically the idea to be able to make an appointment to go see them, or do a presentation, or get them to watch a YouTube, or do an ABC, something like that, to take the next step.
One of the things that I really admire about you, David, is just sharing that story of you at the back of that auditorium, or you at the back of the school, not even going to assembly, the humility of that, and then later this disconnected character guy who's concerned with how other people are doing and like that. You can't get from here to there. You weren't caring what the guys in the auditorium were doing back there. You didn't have those skills. You learned those things. You practiced those things. You you and I just want to say to everybody, you know, like you are really a first-class example of a Renaissance man. I mean, you rebirthed yourself. And everybody that's watching this today that is absolutely convinced that their past is going to condemn them, good news. It's gone. It's like a canceled check. You can't even spend it again if you want to. The only place it lives is in that goofy idiot's library on the third floor. It doesn't matter where you came from, other than it's a wonderful thing to show people you can overcome it, right? So when you tell these stories and then you tell how you can now take and do an elevator talk, and you're so sophisticated about that, you can actually add components into that sophisticated elevator talk. And then at the same time, I'm holding this picture of you enabled to go into an assembly. Did you see what I'm saying? It's amazing what you've done. And the fact you can express your love of people this way now. Instead of, I can't imagine the rejection and the how angry and small you must have felt at the back of that room. You're not that guy anymore. It's as Emmett Fox said that precedent cannot bind principle. Once you start dealing on these principles of caring about people as much as you care for yourself, tell the truth and nothing but the truth. You know, slow down. I love what Bob Proctor says. He always says, calm down and speed up. You know, we're all so busy trying to build a business that we don't bother building a business. So get yourself those 5 solid customers around you. And that's a lot of what we're concentrating on right now. Get that little cash flow machine built, and then you have every right to go and tell somebody you can do this too because you've done it. And when you do that, then now you're starting to do the hybrid piece of it, which is so brilliant. And that's that I can, without anybody telling me it's okay, I can go ahead and empower other people to do as well. If you do that just down 3 generations, 6 wide, you'd have over 400 retail customers in your organization every month. Do you think you'd qualify, David?
Oh, it's such a powerful thing. One of the things that changed my whole life was back April of 1976. I went to an Amway meeting.
Yeah.
And I'd never had any interest in business, but when they talked about this idea of duplication, they gave me the book, The Magic of Thinking Big, a couple of cassette tapes. This idea that we become what we think about, and we can direct our lives by directing our thoughts. All of these ideas, I completely changed. The shyness, right at first when I did that business, I remember standing up and I would feel sweat drip. It'd go all the way down my belt line. It'd get in my eyes. The chalk, because used to have that, it'd be all sweaty. Before the meeting, I'd be on the pot because my stomach could just go, you know, I'd get the trots before every meeting. I pushed through it. And I look at NECAN as just, it is a wonderful business, the best business in the history of the world if you're thinking in terms of making a difference and doing good. But also, it's an idea that it really is a personal development program disguised as a business. It really is amazing. And anybody can do this. All you got to do is want to bad enough, have the desire, and then go to work. And the idea of I can't, you know, being able to, I don't know, I would say the greatest shortcut in the world is after you've decided what you want to do is hang around people that are already successful in what you've decided to do. And in NECAN, it's just ongoing, and you can just get better and better. And we've all heard that statement that your income is the average of the 5 people you associate with most. But you can also say the way you think is the same as the 5 people or your health or anything else, your values. And why not choose the environment? Zig Ziglar, one of my very favorite thoughts of his is, how do you get the flu? Well, if you want the flu, just hang around people that have the flu and you'll get the flu. Oh, if you want to be successful, hang around successful people. And then I think the big thing that we just got to mention is then be about your business, go to work. And so much of NICAN is talking to people, managing conversations and basically creating more conversations, getting really good at conversation, and then doing lots of it, getting good at it and getting lots of it. And so basically my thought would be get in with Marty. I can is a wonderful attitude. And then I do would be the next thing. and then this idea of just thinking, okay, I'm gonna do this. I am really going to get better at this. And then just allowing time and effort to work on this, getting better and doing more. I would say, okay, how do you get better? I would say get better at talking, increase your number of people that you talk to, and increase the quality of the people. Look for people that need these products, people that are looking for a business and purpose. Just find quality people and let the numbers work.
David, not just sick people. We're not just chasing wheelchairs and ambulances. I mean, that is a huge mistake a lot of people make. There are tremendous. One of the things I'm manufacturing for the group right now is it's a kind of a graph that has the 5 technologies in it, and beside each one of the technology descriptions is a symptoms and benefits description. So, for example, in dehydration, one of the symptoms is drowsiness, weight gain, and then one of the benefits of hydration is, so we need to look at people who are already in a health state of mind and say, hey, you want to go faster? You want to go longer? You want to go better? Because I'm looking for like-minded people. Dave, when you're talking, something's just driving me crazy. And that's, when did you realize you'd become a success? Like when did that third floor finally get to the place where you didn't see yourself as, you're not only hanging around with successful people, you are successful people? When did that dawn on you? I've lost your audio.
There we go. I had myself on mute.
Sorry.
But the first company was Amway. That was my school, and after being with them several years, I joined another company. Became actually quite successful in it. It fell apart, so I didn't leave it. It left me. Joined another company, same thing. Joined another company, the same thing. Finally, after about 16 years,
wow,
a couple of those companies full time. Having quite a bit of success, also starting my own traditional business and being pretty successful in it. When NICAN came along, what was really thrilling was I thought, okay, here's products, here's a business, here's something that is worthy of my all. I just remember just this thrill that this was an answer to my prayers. Here was a way that I could really put my whole life into something and really make a big difference. And I was thrilled because I thought, it all boils down to the fundamentals of contacting people, being able to make appointments, doing presentations, getting referrals, teaching other people to do those things. That basically pretty much success, whether you're a farmer or you're a NICAN, it boils down to just being really good at half a dozen things and then just doing them over and over and over again. And then with the added advantage of right at the very beginning being plugged in to someone who was already doing very, very well. And so I called him every day. So I had a mentor, had the fundamental skills down, and then the total belief that this was worthy of my all, and with the decisiveness that I was going to just run as fast as I could to see what would happen with this. And that's some magic too, is the whole, we could do a whole seminar just on the power of momentum, how that exaggerates everything you do. And so basically, when I got into NICAN, I'd had about 16 years of training and practice to learn how to drive a car. I just didn't have a car, and so NICAN had it. and I just thought, I'm ready now. I'm going to do this. And so I think that was basically my training. And pretty much anybody that gets in and goes real fast, it's because the backstory. They probably learned those skills somewhere else. Someone who joins Nikken without all of this prior experience, they can actually take an enormous shortcut. They can go through a lot of this without having the heartache of being with companies. The company right before Nikken was 8 years. 8 years I gave my heart to, and it hurt when that company failed. And yet, on the other hand, I'm glad it did, because this is so much better. And
yeah. But it's back to our opening statement. You got to get a group and grow up. GROUP, grow up, and you can do that right here, right in this very. It's a very conducive society. Unlike many organizations, people that make absolutely nothing from you are more than willing to help to demonstrate, to do all of those kinds of things. But I just know that there's a part of me when I was not doing so well, that I would watch a thing like this, and I was looking to not identify. I was looking for some reason why. Well, that's not me. But you got to look and say, between Marty and David, there's you somewhere. Because my story is, I was extremely popular in high school. I was always in the center of everything, and I was suicidal. I was the most unhappy person in the world, because everything that it was offering was hollow. It was just of no interest to me whatsoever. It wasn't until I got a heart to help that I was able to survive and flourish. Then I had to go 20 years of getting off track and thinking money, build, horses, money, horse, more, ranch, more, build, more. And then I found Nikken. It knocked me right on my keister, because the concept had never occurred to me. You can do good and be good. Really? You could do something for someone else and become wealthy? Well, there's an interesting concept. Tell me about that. And it was Michael DiMuccio at that time that did. And he used to say something to me, and I offer this to anybody you're mentoring, because I quit 3 times in the first month. I did $212,000 of volume in the first month, and I didn't even know what was going on. I was just doing what I was told, and I would send him a letter, and I'd resign every Friday. Pretty well. I can't do this. This is not traditional. It doesn't make any sense to me. Where's all this money coming from? And he'd phone me and he'd say, "What are you feeling right now?" What am I feeling? Well, I guess I'm confused. I'm maybe scared for these people. Okay, so let's talk about that. And then we get down, and every single time it was fear driving me, not love. He'd say, "Marty, you're already in good shape. These people are reaching. You're giving them the door to something. Don't be afraid for them. Invite them in." And I'd get all wound up, and wham, we'd go the next week. We took Nikken's computer system down about 12 times because they couldn't take that kind of volume back in that day. That's what I want to see happen here again.
Well, we did it once, and we can do it again. And I just think about everything's in place. I've never seen better product, just company, corporate, everything. We are ready to just go. And you mentioned earlier that don't just be an ambulance chaser. Mm-hmm. And certainly if we see somebody that's hurting, we should let them know about it. But a lot of people are hurting in other ways. I see people all the time. I was on the phone. I heard this guy, and he had the world by the tail. He had a job he loved, multiple 6-figure income, happy, not looking for anything. And he went in to the office, and he was just given notice. And in fact, he was actually escorted out of the building with a box with his stuff, and that's become legendary.
Very common.
It's become a proverb where you're just a commodity in corporate America. That sacred trust that used to be where you're good to them, they'll take care of you. With all of the stuff going on, Obamacare, different things like that, companies to survive, they're basically making everybody part-time so they don't have to give the full benefits. Where can you confidently put your energy into something and actually accrue equity and purpose and that you know will be there. Where are the leaders? What can you believe in today? We could talk about the economy but boy, what if we could get together as a community? We're in Nikan, we've kind of created this arena that we can be in and be protected. Don't even need to get a business license, just based on value, hooked together and not worry so much. Create our own economy. You look around there and there's challenges and everything, but boy, there's billions of dollars being spent, and one thing's for certain that's inarguable is there's a huge trend of growth in the next 15 to 20 years as the baby boomers get older, that they're going to be spending more and more, of course, on sick care, but also record amounts are going to be spent on health and wellness and self-care, as we like to talk about. And this is boom times. If you ever thought about running, this is a moment to make a big difference in the world, to have it all, everything. It's just a full smorgasbord of all the stuff.
And there is only this moment. I mean, it's not as if there was a book out a while ago called The Power of Now, and some idiot wrote a parody to it called The Power of Then. And that's where most people, when this happens, then I'm going to do it. And when I get here, then I'm going to. Well, by the time then comes, you have got nothing built, and you're not in a place to do it. So if you're a busy person, good. People like to deal with busy people, but just start to organize your time. Get your mentor to dig in. Get the people that brought you to this business to do what they told you they were going to do when they brought you to this business. Hold their feet to the fire. Make them take care of you. And then and this is the point, I can't overemphasize this. I speak all over the world in another organization, and inevitably somebody will come up to me after one of these talks and say, man, you are so lucky that you had that mentor. And I always say the same thing. I'm not lucky, because I became that mentor. It's great to have somebody teaching you, but you better become the teacher. You better become that guy. You, Dave Johnson, that's what's magic in your life. Not that you had some great guru that taught you everything. You became. So in this moment, if you're watching this Zoom today, make a decision. It's about you. It's about time, and it's about you right now. All you got. It's the power of right now. So make that decision that you're going to change something, because something's got to change if something's going to change. If the principles tell you that if it's not going right, you're not on principle, because the laws work the same for everybody. The rain falls on the rich and the poor, the good and the evil. Somebody walks off a building, they fall. Gravity is just gravity. And all of these other hidden principles are just the same. Care for people, do the work, do what you say what you do, be concerned about what they need rather than what you have to sell. Get that whole idea of some of the abusive stuff that's gone on in the name of this type of a business. That's the dark side. Just let all that's nothing to do with us. That's why those people can't stay in Nikan. Think it through. When all of those guys pack their little black briefcases and go to take advantage of the next bunch of foolhardy people, that doesn't work here. It could never work here. And the reason your great leaders have stayed is because of their heart condition. They're here not because they couldn't have picked up and done this and that and the other thing. Like Dave said, he's in love with getting up in the morning and doing this business. That's what I want to mentor me, and that's what I want to become. So that's my little 2 bits worth, David. I just think it's really important. People are so loath to say the truth sometimes because they are afraid it's going to discourage somebody. I believe we need to hear the truth. This is not like any other thing. It isn't. It never was, and it never will be, and nobody is ever going to be able to do that to this company. It's too principled. We just need to get on principle, get on purpose, and as you say, scare yourself. Go talk to somebody, today, right now. I mean, get a list and go and see somebody.
What a concept.
Yeah. I don't know how we dream this stuff up.
Yeah, we could go for several hours, and I would certainly enjoy it. I love visiting with you, Marty, and thanks for being my friend.
My great pleasure. I
Just
am your friend.
just a thought. Norman Vincent Peale, great book, The Power of Positive Thinking. He's written some good books, but one of the neatest thoughts that he has is he asks the question, what if you knew that God was interested in your job, that he actually cared about you and was with you, aiding you in your work, and certainly he does care about everything, and that would certainly include work, and certainly you should care about it. If you're going to give 1/3 of your life to your job, one day at a time, find something that is worthy, and if you could have that thought that just let me live a life that counts. Let me be an instrument that matters. God's hands and feet, and being with Nikan. I'll tell you, this is one of the few companies that really does have a heart and a soul. It isn't just selling stuff to make money. Hers a company that really could change the whole world, one person at a time, and it will happen for you. It'll change your world, and as you talk to people, their lives will be transformed. And I would recommend, if you're thinking, oh, gee, is this what I want to do or not? Well, jump in and run with it until you find something that is. But this just might be it. But I would ask you to live your life along that way. That basically ask to put that in your prayers. Who can I help today? Who can I serve? And I get excited about it because this is a good tool to help and serve people, the business and the product. Just amazing. And it really is a new day. I can feel things coming together where we can really cover enormous distance. I would say if you're just listening to this as a brand new person, maybe you haven't even decided or not, I'll tell you, if you run with this, just 1 or 2 years from now, thousands of people could be affected in positive, wonderful ways because of your decision to run with this, because of that idea of teach 3, teaching them to teach 3, to reach 3, and then sharing these products and having it unfold. And that's one of the neatest ways of just having an abundant, fulfilling life is to be part of creating a culture, a tribe, an organization, and just being with people that are getting better all along the way. And what a rich way to live your life. And I feel a second career coming on, an encore career. Thanks, Marty. Any last thoughts from you?
Look out, planet Earth. Dave Johnson's fired up. No, the last thought is that the first I can statement, which is that basically my I can attitude is the manifestation of my thoughts and my feelings and my actions, and that my actions and my attitude will follow one another like night follows day. I think it, and what I'm saying about it, and then the actions that I take, the repetitive good actions that I take, are going to form a character, and that character will take my destiny. This is, just as you described, a very unique vehicle to get the job done. So thanks for having me on your Zoom.
Hey, sure love you, and thanks for the difference you're making. Let's go touch some more lives.
Yep. See you, David.